All right, welcome to Married at First Sight, the hip hop edition, season 12, episode 6. We got rapper C Double Deuce and First Lady of First Lady of Craziness, Paige. Well, tonight I'm just going to cover episode 6 and 7 since I missed 6 last week, but seeing as we had the hip hop edition of, the love and hip hop edition of Married at First Sight, because um, hmm, this episode was like watching something out of Real Housewives, was like watching Love and Hip Hop. It was crazy. Like I said, we got the mumble rapper, because we know Chris can't never say full coherent sentences. It's always like, I did talk to her. I'm trying to do the best I can. I didn't lie to her. So, and I gotta listen to him more to be able to imitate his voice better. But anyways, so we call him the mumble rapper, because isn't that how mumble rappers talk? You be trying to listen and hear exactly what they're saying. And it sounds like a hey, yeah, she, yes. That's how it sounds. So, I'm sorry. So we just start off with everything. So I'm just going to recap a little bit. With this one, I took notes and I don't even know where it begins. But if I'm correct, I think this episode kind of began with everybody just kind of walking around. Well, I think everybody walking around. Okay, I'm just going to skip that. So we're just going to go to they had a girls' night and they had a guys' night. And so the guys are, playing pool, talking about each other, asking each other questions. Vince talks about Brianna being bossy. The guys ask a couple questions to Eric, and Eric looks like he's just, excuse the term, white girl wasted. I don't know. Vince made a joke about he had some chocolates. I don't know if dude had some edibles. I don't know if he was just drunk, but his eyes was like this, and he was trying to, and that was just his whole affect the whole time. So, I think he was trying to hang in there somewhere, but it just wasn't working. So, and then we get to the ladies at the bar, Bree talks about, Vincent, and then Virginia talks about how there was an issue with Eric and how, she kind of feels like he's a little bossy, a little controlling, because, he talks about he doesn't believe women should have, male friends unless they're gay or certain circumstances. And I'm going to say this, just being around guys, I get where he's coming from and I understand. It can be, it can be a bit much sometimes. Depending on the guys. And when you're drunk, sometimes you're not always most cognizant and, you're thinking what you're going to do. Yes, that could be your friend. And normally, maybe if you're sober, you might not want to. But, sometimes when you're drunk, stuff looks different. When you're inebriated, things change circumstances. So, I understand why Eric, wants to say it. But they're going to have to figure out a compromise within that. Eric may need to find a better way of saying, about, Virginia had her friends, because they have been there. Paige is trying to remain optimistic. Why? I do not know. At this point, Chris is a F-boy. There's no other way to say he's a complete F-boy. And he is displaying a lot of narcissistic, a lot of people say abusive. I'm going to say narcissistic, but his tendencies are very abusive. He's a schmuck, a complete schmuck, and that's the best way I can put it in that aspect. He is just playing the game, and we get to some of that later. Yeah, so Bree talks a little bit about Vince's timing, and we see a little bit of their relationship. Little bit of cracks that you can get in a relationship. It's still early; everybody's still trying to get to know each other. Let's see. All right, so we talk a little bit about Jacob and Haley. They kind of discuss what intimacy looks like. Jake addresses a concern with Haley's level of intimacy and how he feels. I know this is the episode where I guess, Haley was drunk one night, they had sex, and so I know people making, I don't know if they making jokes, say maybe the sex was bad. I don't know. Haley could have regrets. The sex may be bad, but if the sex is, bad or you don't, you can always work with them. That's if you want to work with. I don't think Haley really wants to work with Jacob or really likes Jacob. She did mention at one point, she was starting to like Jacob, and I think that's before the sex. So again, I don't know if it's because the sex was trash or not, but there's many ways that you can work with a man and let him know and be honest with him and find a way to say it. But not saying anything to him is not going to change the situation. It's not going to help anything, and it's going to keep the communication stagnant. And one thing I learned about a relationship, if I don't know what's going on and you don't know what's going on, then we can't resolve the issues. They're just going to sit at the table, and it's like everybody talks about when you have a big elephant in the room. Everybody keeps walking around, but nobody wants to speak or address why the elephant is in the room. You need to address why that elephant is just sitting there chilling. That big fat elephant, big fat pink elephant chilling. Every once in a while, address why. Just take care of it. I know it's not always easy, especially coming from someone who used to not be very confrontational. I'm still not very confrontational, but I've learned to communicate and have conversation, even those hard conversations. And they help. And, sometimes either people going to respond, in a way that's positive or negative. And I'm learning you can't control that. You can only control and put out what you're putting out and giving to people. And if they're able to receive it, they receive it. If not, again, that's not on you. That's on them and their communication and how they see you. So, Haley says she used to being independent. If you used to being independent, I'm an independent woman, but, that has nothing to do with, your relationship or, trying to learn how to fix that intimacy in the marriage. Just tell Jacob you just don't like him. Because I tell you, even the most independent woman, and it's true, if you with somebody that comes in and they're handling things and you like them and they grow on you, then you're going to yield some of that independence so that you can work out the relationship. So this whole, I'm independent, yeah, but you signed up for this knowing that. So what did you expect, Haley? And, like everybody on the show, you take a risk. This is one of the reasons why I don't think I could ever do Married at First Sight. Because you take a risk of not knowing what the person is going to look like in the chemistry. And part of the process is you learning if you're going to try and get to know this person. If you're not willing and open, then this is not the process for you. You're not just going on TV, getting married, and, it's going to be poof, it's going to be the perfect person. Because even if you meet somebody that you attracted like, if there's some communication or things you have to work on, you have to work through them. I mean, that's just reality. And sometimes when you meet somebody, you may not know the little hidden gem behind them. You could be looking at it saying, oh, this person's not for me, and thinking that, why am I pursuing this? And then sometimes a person that you think that you might like or cute, they might not be the one. So we just got to get a different perspective on what we really wanted. And I wonder if Haley really knows what she wants in a person, because she has a history. I think I remember someone mentioned of, being kind of picky when it comes to guys. And if you're too picky and nobody's ever good enough for you, then Haley, this process would have been good, but you have to be open. If you realize you're picky, you also have to be open. You have to be open to what is given to you. And if you're not open and you're going to continue in your little picky ways, then you're going to get what you get. And it's not the process that didn't work for you. It's your attitude and how you view relationships and what you think perfection is. I understand having high expectations, and I had to, work through what are those expectations. I'm not saying you can't have certain level of expectations, but there's a difference between reality, realistic, and, expectations that are unrealistic. And if you're looking for protection if you have unrealistic expectations of what a relationship is or what it looks like, and then it's been, how many years? So have you really been thinking about what kind of man you want, who you are as a person, how much you've grown? So, again, I don't know, Haley. All right. So on to Eric and Virginia. Virginia and Eric kind of talk about their life together and what's going to look like. Virginia talking about, I get turned up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or is it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or is it Tuesday, Thursday? I don't know. She said she get turned up 3 days out the week. And if it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, at what point is Virginia sober? Are we talking about you out turning up, you go home, lay down for a while, take a shower, back up? Because somebody turned up. And when do you turn down? I guess when Sunday comes on. You just take a shower, turn down, and then you rest. But, yeah. So I know Eric was very drunk. He said he's not going to be able to hang like that because because he values his job as a pilot. And don't nobody want no drunk pilot. I never watched Flight, but I can imagine Eric being like the Denzel character on Flight. I ain't watch it, but from what I heard and my understanding, I think either he was a drug addict or a drunk, but you don't want nobody drunk flying your place. It's enough to get on a plane and somebody's sober and there's a possibility there could be anything that goes wrong with it. Let alone you drunk and the plane goes wrong with it. And, at least if you sober, you can have a mind to try and figure out how to save the plane. But if you drunk and unless it sobers you up, no. Virginia still kind of acts like she's single and she wants to hang out with her friends. And I get it. You still want to hang out with your boys, but you're married now. So there's things that have to change. Doesn't mean you have to completely get over your lifestyle if that's what you do, but you do have to compromise some things. You're no longer your own. And I think that's the hard thing about, marriage. I think sometimes if we're not careful, we go in it very selfishly trying to look for our needs to be met and not thinking about that we have to meet someone else's needs. And if you don't think about the needs that you have to meet of the other person, then you need to reevaluate why you want to be married, or maybe you need a boyfriend, or maybe you just need to stay single and just date casually. Because, you can't want both. You just can't. Anyways, so we get to Brianna, excuse me. The other time I was calling them Brents because I combined the names. So with Brinson and Brianna, so I'll just say Bree chill. That man is learning. He might not be used to certain things just because you use this toothpaste and this nice rose water on your skin. You might not want to use that on his skin. He might not be able to use it on his skin. Just relax and kind of let Vincent get used to you, and how don't treat him like a little boy. He's not your kid. He's not your child. I'm glad they did talk about the incident. I'm glad Vince did open up, about how he felt about how she talked to him. And, I'm glad that she, said she didn't want to hurt his feelings and that she owned up to, the possibility and trying to work on making sure that she is careful with the things or how she approaches him. They did go rock climbing that day. And I'm glad they were able to address that. And, he didn't keep going, but next episode, well, we just say that for when I transition out of this love and hip hop episode. So that's everybody else. Claire and Ryan. What's going on? Ryan is observer and recognized. Oh, yeah, Ryan and Claire. I didn't really write much on Ryan and Claire. I'm not sure why, but yeah. What did I put on Ryan and Claire? I just put Ryan is an observer and recognizes you can only help, but I think that's after. I don't know why I put that about Ryan and Claire. Let me see. Oh, Claire, Ryan was a class clown. Never been in love, and Claire's worried about him never being in love. Girl, he's a male. I don't know. Just sometimes someone never being in love. I don't know. I've watched I'm gonna leave. I watched many videos about guys and explain about love. Well, anyways. I'm not gonna keep that in here because that hasn't. I was gonna go somewhere with that, and I'm no longer gonna go anywhere with that. I'm just gonna leave it right where it's at. But Claire used to be in the choir, and she's, has fallen in love a lot with others, in the past. So we see Clara. She falls in love easily, and Ryan hasn't fallen in love. So we see how that goes with them. And then I kind of want to move on to the next part of the episode where we move to the ATVs. Now, this is where the show kind of picks up and becomes more the love and hip hop version. Yeah, I did kind of skip over Chris and Paige, but um, whoo, child, that's a whole nother story. So we get to where Claire and Ryan and Chris and Paige and Eric and Virginia, they all kind of go on a group date together. So again, like I said, Brinson, Brianna and Vincent, Brinson, they're going to be combined together. They go to the rock climbing. I can't remember what Haley and Jacob did. That's sad because this episode I tried to pay attention and I didn't really put down what they did. Because like I said, it became Married at First Sight, Love and Hip Hop edition. And the only way that you're going to get camera time this episode is if you focus on Chris and Paige, because that's what this episode is really all about. So again, like I said, we get to the ATVs. The couples are together. They show in the middle of the scene Claire and Virginia talking to Chris. Kind of talking to him how he's dealing with Paige, how he's going to deal with this upcoming baby. Claire makes a comment like Chris would be the one to have the baby. And that, Paige is a better woman than her. We're dealing with the bullcrap from Chris. Chris gets upset that the ladies are talking to him about how he's going to handle the situation, especially with Virginia, because, he gets bucked, Virginia gets bucked. And so, she told me to help out, make sure to take care of baby. Eric comes over trying to, see what's going on. Ryan is in the background, not saying anything. And, at one point, Chris calls her a drunkard. So he basically tells him, I don't owe you an explanation. Virginia says Chris is telling him to mind his business. That's what he basically tells them, to mind their business. Claire kind of, stops at a certain point. And close to Virginia, she gonna keep going. He called her, again, like I said, he called her a drunkard, which is kind of funny because it's such a biblical term. And I was like, he's like, you take shots, I give shots. I was like, oh, you got a little bit of shade, but still, that's part of it. He want to get mad, and then he goes over to Paige. You ready? You ready? And then Paige is kind of, for some reason, in a crazy way, like, yeah. And so I'm just like, ooh, Paige, girl. Oh, it's a mess. It's a mess. I know at a certain point, I think this is is this the episode? Oh, yeah. This is why I called it the hip hop edition, because at the beginning of the episode, it was very messy with them. That's what it was. It was very messy. So, we see it, like I said, it starts off like a reality show. And so at the beginning of the episode, we see, productions telling him he needs to talk to her. He needs to tell her. And he said he doesn't want to tell her. So at one point they're at breakfast eating. And then he tells her, I got some very devastating news. And he's sitting there like a kid, like, I wanted to, I'm not going to tell you. Why tell her you got devastating news? Why even tell her if you're not going to say anything? But he kind of plays this game of like little cat and mouse, trying to see how much of the cheese he can try and tempt her with or whatever. Again, he's such a schmuck. That's the best way I can say it. Without saying any words that will make me have to repent. All I can say is back in the day, when my mouth was what it was, he would have been an itch-made N-word. That's all I can say. And I think a couple times I used the N-word, and it was a Negro. Okay? Yeah, a couple times he got the N-word, and it wasn't the nice N-word. It was you, ooh. Ooh, Jigga. Really? Okay. No. Anyway, so we start off that. He finally decides he's going to tell Paige they're in the bathroom, turn the water on, take off the mics, and he announces the news that, he has a child on his way. Then he goes to talk to Vince at one point. Paige talks to Brianna. She kind of talks about how, everything that she's been going through, he's been putting her through too much. He's been dragging this girl. It ain't even been a whole week or two. And she already been told that she ain't attractive. He done had sex with her and keep doing that. And then, he talks about he has a baby on the way. And then we get to the end of the episode. He's just, whoo. I'm like, Claire, she's a better one, because I think I would have walked. Consummated marriage or not. I just, you know what? Forget it. Because I'm sorry, there's no sex that good that I'm going to keep letting you drag me through the mud. It's not that good. It can't be that good for me to lose my self-esteem. I mean, I'm pretty sure, sometimes going through pain and hurt in relationships is not fun, but that thing right there, that man, ooh, and he's just so very just manipulative and very cold and calculated with how he does things. And and I hate to say it, and I know everybody's Paige. At first I was gonna talk about, well, maybe it's the money issue, but I guess they said they offered her to walk away without having to worry about paying, which I don't know how true that is because she's under contract. So unless they're gonna allow her to breach that contract, I don't know. But if you're already struggling, and then if you're already struggling, and then she has sex with him, and one thing people are not thinking about, and I'm not using an excuse, but once you have sex disrupts your rational thinking, good, bad, and different, whether or not, and because she's already somewhat already one committed her heart. Two, probably feels like if she does anything, it's a reflection of her relationship with God. If she divorces, so you have that aspect, that sometimes we're not thinking about either. The aspect of God. I don't think it's God's will for her to be treated like trash. That was just, like they say, the devil's in the details, and that is the devil. That dude right there, he's a whole complete. He's just evil. He just ugh. That nigga right there. I'm sorry, I got to say that nigga right there. That nigga. Anyways, like I was saying, so again, like I said, you have her commitment to wanting to do it right, her commitment to what she think is going to be, to God, and probably, depending on her view of God and teaching, and feeling like if she divorced, she's letting God down. And, I'm not agreeing with, her way, because it could probably be, I'm not going to say it's toxic, but sometimes we have a perception of God, and we have to really sit before actually God to have him corrected. And then, like I said, then the third thing, she's had sex with him. Having sex, there's a reason. And I know some people don't believe in soul ties. But soul ties are real. When I have sex with you, I'm not just taking on the physical, I'm taking on emotional and spiritual. And I'm going to go there. If you think about soul ties, as women, we receive from men. And if you think, oh, this is a religious thing, it's not just a religious person saying it. I'm not just saying it as a religious person, but if you go read secular articles of people who talk about the link between it, there's also secular science that talks about it. Because I know it usually comes back to the church and what we talk about. But there's, like I said, there's science. And I remember reading an article. That's how I can say I remember finding an article on and I know somebody's like, oh, it's on Facebook. But still, a lot of y'all read stuff on Facebook and take it at face value. So don't come for me. Don't come for me, okay? And I'm pretty sure you can find other resources that tell you the same. But anyways, like I was saying, and with sex, everything, your judgment gets cloudy. So, I could rag on Paige and say she's stupid. And we also got to remember, Paige is 25. I don't know her relational history. I don't know, when you young like that, you are ride or die. Now that I'm 40, I'm like, I'm riding out. Okay? I ain't got to say. When I was younger, I think there was a few more things I might tolerate. As I'm older, there's a few things that I might, depending on what it is. But not that. No, not that. But I'm just saying, when you young, you're like, oh, I can work it out, and I'm, ride or die. We got to think about, Paige and where she's at. And plus, like I said, she's committed to the marriage. She's committed to the process. I think she really wants it. And I hate to say, I think also she feels like if she doesn't go through it, if she doesn't try everything she needs to do, I think she probably feels like, in a sense. And I think some of it is, part of it's religious, and part of it's probably maybe just her own personal conviction that she may feel like she failing. And nobody talks about that. We just talk about how stupid we think she is, but we don't talk about maybe what is going through her mind as a woman, as, outside of her, watching her go through that painful process. Because relationships can be very painful. And you come into a marriage, I mean, we're also talking about expectations, hopes, and dreams, and having to grieve that I tried this and this didn't work. I tried this and that didn't work. I'm over here trying this and now this ain't working. And this man tried to make, and no telling what he said to her, no telling what he says to her behind closed doors. We might only get to see the part where he's wishy-washy. We don't know if he back there like some abusers are, treating her, trying to make her feel like something, telling her things. Like if he's telling her things on camera, imagine what he might be saying. But then again, I don't know. But I'm gonna give her some grace and just pray that, I know the show is over, that, that she gets the counseling and grief recovery that she needs, because there's a whole lot of stuff to unpack in this process of, and as a woman. And sometimes when you have hopes and dreams, whether it's for a business, whether or not it's, wanting to have children, whether it's not wanting to be married or different things, this whole process right here makes you confront some things that you probably weren't ready for, and it's probably having her to have to confront that. Also, I don't think maybe she's ready to be angry with God and be disappointed, and that could be another thing. Maybe her holding on a sec. I'm not ready to have to go and say and be angry with God. So I mean, there's so many things that we don't even think about in this process, even as her being a believer. That goes with what Paige is probably wrestling with. It's easy to say, "Oh, she's staying," and part of it probably is a low self-esteem and diagnosis, but there's other things that underlying layers that I think we need to kind of look at and dig in this situation. Poor Paige. So he, takes her. I mean, he tells her she's hurt. She goes to talk to Brianna, angry. He talks to Vince, and Vince is looking shocked, and Vince is trying to be there. Vince looks like he wants to probably, he should, I mean, he did hold his feet to the fire, but he probably should have told me, man, you a dummy. And when he talks about the process and talks about, I went to go visit her, and, her father just died and one thing led to another, and, accidentally fell in. There used to be a comedian talking about, you ain't accidentally fall in. What did you do? Just tripping, you fell in some, you fell in some pee. Chris, you ain't accidentally go visit that girl and fall in or whatever. If you're a manipulator now, you probably manipulated and no telling what you did with the other girl. And then with her already having sex with you in a relationship. And two, sometimes that's another thing. Sometimes as women, if we're honest, unlike men, and not all women, but sometimes if you already have sex with somebody, you don't want to add no new body count. So if somebody from the blast from the past come and you already did something with them, and you might not, and it doesn't mean you have to like them or love them, but you might just be like, okay, I'm just having sex to get it off. Let's just be honest. There's some thought process like that. I'm trying to be careful what I say, but because I'm a minister, and I don't want people like, oh, that's who she trying to, get people who know me personally. Oh, she trying to get people to have. No, I'm just being honest, because there's so many facets to things that we don't talk about and look at. But anyways. So going back to the mumble rapper and first lady of Love and Hip Hop, Married at First Sight edition. Okay, First Lady Paige, First Lady of mumble rapper C.W. Deuce. I had another name for him. I wish I could think of it. Dang, I had another name. It wasn't a nice name either, because I don't want to be nice to Chris. I don't. I hate men that are abusive. I hate men that are dogs. And I know it sounds very strong. You hate, but yeah, he's a butt. So I don't want to keep going on episode 6 any longer than I need to. So we get to the dinner where the second half of the show begins. This is where the bottles start popping, the water start flying everywhere, folks jumping on tables. I'm about to kick you. Nah. But that's what happens in Love and Hip Hop. But again, it might as well be like a Love and Hip Hop episode. You start arguing. No, what'd you say? Whew. The drink go on the face. Oh, no. Production come, you grabbing. Especially this episode. It got heated because I ain't heard Montre or seen Montre since season, what is this, 12? Since season, was it 10? When Mika was calling Montre, I saw Montre still with him. I say, no, he trying to help get stuff calmed down. But we get to the dinner and everybody's sitting chilling, and Chris is like, I just want to apologize for my behavior earlier. I just need to, I called my grandmother, and I usually go to her for support. She's my support system, grandma. You know how it is with grandma. And grandma told me, you got a wife right there. Why don't you have your wife, baby, pray for you? Just have her pray for you, honey. Pray for you like I prayed for your grandpa all them years. And Chris said, my wife just laid hands on me. What kind of hands did you have her lay on you? What kind of praying did... No, I'm just playing. Okay. Let me quit. What kind of praying did she do? Because we need to talk about the praying that you do and not with the A-Y-I-N-G, but the E-Y-N-G with the P-R in the front. Okay? But anyway, so he talked about how, magnificent it was, and Paige prayed for him and he apologized because, she's so strong and, she just been there for me. I have a feeling, just thinking about his mom and his dad, I have a feeling that a lot of his behavior, even though they said his grandparents raised him, and it could be his grandfather, we don't know. But I got a feeling a lot of his behavior has been by the two males in his life. And I don't know if that was his grandfather or his father, but I want to tend to believe that I could see that behavior coming more from his father. I don't know why, but I just get a sense, and I get a sense that with his mom being silent, and even when, even though when he said something to Paige and, he sat at the table and said what he said, I have a feeling that Chris's father has some of those same characteristics. Now, he might be able to mask them and better do them, and, because he's older, more mature, but I have a feeling that, the apple does not fall far from the tree in this situation, which is very sad. Because he had to learn that somewhere. And I'm not saying people can't pick up stuff for survival techniques, but, he's trying to, not only hustle a life, but, hustle the hearts of women. And yeah, Chris, I think you need to stop, because one day either you're going to keep going and you're going to be alone, or you're going to meet your match, and it's not going to be pretty for you. And I would say, I hope it doesn't happen, because sometimes that's what happens to men. They get hurt and they become dogs, but you're already a dog. You're a dog. You're a mutt. You're a mangy mutt. Anyways, so as he's apologizing, and he's apologizing to Paige, and everybody's like, okay. The only one who's not falling for is Jacob. Jacob just want his steak and eggs. He's like, can I just get my food? This dude is kind of fugazi. He fake. I don't know how to read him. I don't really care for him, because I kind of see what he's immature. So many words, some things that Jacob is probably not saying because he's trying to mind his business and eat his potato salad. So he's like, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just going, okay, can we just eat? So Eric and Virginia come in late again, always late, clinging on each other. Like what's the couple? There's a crackable of a living color. Something that Cephas, when they used to try and imitate, I think they were trying to imitate Ashford and Simpson, but how they was always kind of just together. Anyways, I gotta think of a couple name for them, because the way she was all clinging and holding on. So Eric, gets to the table and says, I need to talk to you, man. And then, Ryan comes in, well, hold on before you get started. Dude, just apologize. It's some peace here. We trying to have a peaceful dinner. And then, Chris trying to talk, Eric trying to talk, and they both. And then, Eric is like, you know what? I don't appreciate you disrespecting Virginia. And if you disrespect my wife again, you're not going to do it. And then Chris, not knowing how to handle the fact that he didn't like them saying nothing to Paige, and realizing it's kind of the same thing, he gonna get it. What you want to do, man? What you want to do? So next thing you know, Vince moved fast. Boy, did he move fast. He moved fast and kind of chest bumped out and moved him out. And then Paige left and Brianna's with her. And she's like, Paige is like, he apologized. Yeah, girl, he apologized, but that he fake. And he's a butthole. And he's just not worth your time. He's not worth your time. So, anyways, let me hurry up and finish, because I've stayed on the hip hop love edition too long. So that's basically what happened. I'm kind of leave it at that. The dinner just went crazy. Like I said, we ain't seen Montre in a while. We saw Montre. He walked him out trying to cool him down. And, Chris think he was probably all cool in his little suit and whatever else. And, um, Vincent was on his side. But, I don't think they really knew what happened. And so it was just awful. So I'm going to move on to episode 7, which brings us back to Married at First Sight, season 12, episode 7, the normal edition, or the normal episode of the show. Oh, goodness gracious. I can't some days. I just can't. I can't. So, we kind of see that all the couples are leaving Vegas. Haley flies home alone because her and Jacob had an argument. Oh, that's the one thing I forgot to mention. Towards the end of the last episode, Haley said she was going out for a girls' night. Jacob goes down. He sees Haley, and she's down there with the other couples. They see him and they skedaddle. Jacob is hurt and upset. He's not figuring out what's going on because he's trying to talk with Haley to see what's going on. And every time they show Haley, she always has this. I mean, her face just it looks mean or contorted. I don't know. Haley, she may not be like how Katie was, like how stank and kind of arrogant Katie was verbally, but she is someone did mention she is a bit of a mean girl. She's not very nice. Even when you go back to watching her in the first episode and preparing and just how she's not very nice, and I can kind of see how she may be single. Even though you're 28 and you have other successes, does not equate success and overall. And that's one thing we need to realize. You can be successful on your job. You can be successful in your friendships and your family. But in marriage and relationships, it takes a whole different work. And I'm not judging. I was about to call her Katie. I'm not judging Haley, but I think that was very mean and despicable to do that. Very mean and despicable. Chris leaves Paige to alone and goes to Chicago. I don't know why he's going to Chicago. Says he's going to Chicago, clears his head. You know what? I wish I would have been a moment when Paige says, you know what? Don't worry about coming back. Don't worry about it all, because she has to move into, because this is an episode where everybody moves into their home, and I would just tell them, you know what, you don't have to worry about coming back. Stay in Chicago. Stay where you need to be. Especially because, and that's the one thing I didn't cover. I guess I should have covered it in the last episode, but that's what happened at the end of the episode, is that he told her he was still in love with his, baby's mama, his ex-fiance, and that he was thinking about getting with her. After he said all that, when he said he was going to Chicago, Paige says, you know what, you need to go to Chicago. You want to go visit, just stay there. Don't come back. Don't come back. If production wants you to come back, fine. Just make sure when you come back, they give you a separate place to stay, or you go to your own place to stay. But don't worry about ever coming back and being part of this process, because it's done. It's done. You're a complete F boy. You're a trash A jigger. You're a schmuck. You're a charlatan. You're not a man of God, because any man of God would not have treated a woman like that. And this is the part that kind of really, excuse my language, pisses me off, is when, because as a Christian, as a woman or a man, we already get bad raps because of people like him and people who scheme and scam and don't have their hearts rendered or delivered unto the Lord. So we get the flack for those of us who really love God, who really want to help people, who really want to serve. We get the flack because they see people like Chris and don't believe that God is real. When the devil goes to church, and if your heart is not rendered, if you're not surrendered unto God, of course, you're going to get this behavior that he shows, and he's not showing a Christ-like behavior, not at all. Like the word says, you wash your wife in the water, word, and he's taking the water, and he ain't even washing her, he's slapping her in mud. He's treating her like a hoe. Treating her like she's not valuable, not that she needs to be loved. So, I mean, he's just, ugh. Okay, Bree and Vince are move in, and she comments on his beard, And you know how it's kind of messy or whatever. I'm just like, Bree, let the man shave his beard or shave it for or brush it. There's so many things as women that we can learn to do without. I understand bluntness and saying stuff. We have power. I don't think we realize we have a certain level of power. I hate to say it, and it may not feel like it, to make or break the male ego. And in that case, if his beard is messy, you don't have to say it. Just like, oh, and just kind of and do that. And just like, oh, and just keep it moving. Claire and Ryan discuss bedtime. He's early. She goes to bed at 1. He goes to bed early at 10 p.m. She says she ain't go to bed in 10 years at that. Um, he talks about as long as it's cold and dark, like a cave, he's fine. Um, so she said they may have to do a compromise. Haley and Jacob move in. Jacob believes Haley is a liar and is dating a different boyfriend, has a boyfriend. Um, I said, I just put that he has past trauma coming up from another relationship. That's what I picked up. That's what that sounds like to me. Something happened to Jacob, and they get into that a little bit later, that for him to feel like Haley was cheating on him. All the couples except Haley, Jacob, and Paige um, sleep in the same bed. Of course, Paige is alone. Haley and Jacob sleep in separate rooms. He does apologize in the midst of messing up. He slept in the guest room. Now, this episode where we get Pascal, everybody asking, where Pascal, especially with Paige and Chris. Ooh, we get to that portion in a minute. Eric and Virginia. As they're moving in, we find out that, Eric is allergic to cats. He took some medicine before. Virginia doesn't like his place because she feels like it's a man cave. I thought this place was pretty nice. It's very, black. It's not very decorative or, very homey. But again, he's a male, he's a bachelor. He's not going to have probably any floral pillows, any touches of feminine quality to it, especially with him being kind of the conservative male he is. You're not going to find, like lovely pictures or, no pictures saying love or life is beautiful kind of. That's more of our thing. Think about Home Goods, who's in there a lot of times, us as women. And if there's men in there, it's either because he's a decorator, he likes to decorate, or he's buying something for his wife, or, just he just happens to be a male that has that taste. But for the most part, men are in Home Depot. If they're going to take care of home, it's to fix stuff. And might get the lights or pick up something for somebody's house they're fixing. So think of it like this. Men are more like Home Depot. We're more like Home Goods. And we bring the Home Goods into the Home Depot and add something to it. Okay, thank you. Virginia, the party girl, she discusses being out, sometimes maybe falling asleep on the couch at one of her friends' house. Not appropriate. Even if it's a male, you're married now. I don't know what's gonna be like if they stay married and he's gone, but yeah, again, I'm like everybody else. They shouldn't have been matched. They shouldn't have. I mean, I can see him liking her and, maybe putting up some things because I've seen some crazy stuff in some relationships. So, but Virginia just wants to do what she wants to do. And I think she needs to stop drinking because her skin doesn't look good. For somebody who's into skincare and light skincare, and it doesn't look good. And with her being so young, she's going to age herself faster with all that drinking than she needs to. And then there's some other factors in there. But yeah, she, I don't want to make Virginia seem like she's a drunk. But if they're editing to the way they're editing, then it is making her look like she has a drinking problem. But her skin doesn't look good. And it's not going to look good. She's going to age herself. She's going to kill that liver. Forget about your skin. You're going to kill your liver too. So, anyways, Claire and Ryan doing much better. They wonder why they don't disagree. They haven't consummated a marriage. He said he's attracted, and she's looking for sex. Claire feels like Ryan is moving too slow. Give up the D. Ryan, give up the D. But I guess he's looking at it more serious. Kind of makes me think of like Keith. He was like he didn't want to have sex with Iris. I think he felt more of the responsibility for having her virginity. And Iris was, still kind of waiting to see how the relationship goes, which makes sense. I'm a virgin, even though I'm with you. If we don't finish this 8-week process and I have sex with you, then that means, yeah. I mean, there's other factors in that relationship, but that would it kind of puts me in the mind of maybe because of certain areas, but so I'm not sure because they're married now. I know some people like, oh, anyways. So Pastor Cal talks about how love is a principle and how it's not a feeling, not a feeling. It's a mutual decision to could to excuse me commit to someone's needs. I like the way he put that. My pastor had a different way of saying what love is, but it's basically the same concept. Is it's not so much a feeling, but it's a commitment. It's a choice. I heard somebody talking about it. It has been a choice. So I'm thinking that's pretty good. Love is a choice. It is a commitment to decide. And I think it's like that each and every day you commit to, am I going to love this person? Because sometimes you're not always going to feel people. Sometimes I get on my own doggone nerves, and other people get on my nerves, and this person get on my nerves. So I mean, let's be real. Some we have to choose, especially over emotion. That's one thing I've been learning over the past year or so is that my emotions, and I always felt that way because I always feel what you need to feel, but also too at the same time your emotions can't always dictate your decisions because some days you're not going to feel like you want to love that person. Some days you're going to look at that person like I can't stand you. Another person like, dang, I miss you. I really. Those are your emotions going up and down. The commitment and love is, am I going to love you if I feel like I can't stand you or if I'm head over heels today? That's where that commitment comes from. So thank you for Pastor Cal. Okay, let me see. So Pastor Cal, going back to Eric in Virginia, met with them. Pastor Cal, Virginia talks about again falling asleep. He says she thinks she's in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. Pastor Cal said he would appreciate if his wife fell asleep on somebody else's couch because he's called to protect her. And that's true. As a married woman, I don't need to be on some other man's couch, and I'm married. Too many things can happen. Again, you drunk, even if you don't mean to, you done had something to drink, and you're not always in control. And I know there's things in life we say, oh, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do this, but you never know. All I got to say is opportunity and time and opportunity. There's some things that can happen that you never would intend to happen, but it happens because and sometimes, especially when your guard is down, that's the worst. When your guard is down and you're not trying to protect and you think you got it all handled, that's when stuff comes in and pow, smacks you or things happen because you got lax. And you relax, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm good. And you keep, I don't think it's wise. And then, like I said, it could be a group of guys, and you never know, your male friends or whatever. I hate to say it, but sometimes, no, the reality of date rape happens a lot of time with people women know. I know we watch these shows and they show some random dude running out and we don't know them and he just rapes her. But a lot of rapes and date rapes happen a lot of times from people that women knew they felt safe with. Again, because your guard is down, because you're comfortable. And I'm not saying that friends will do that, but you just never know. So I'm like Pastor Cal and I know some people's probably thinking it was some kind of archaic and he's controlling. He's not trying to control. He's trying to protect his wife and look at the situation of what can I do to prevent any harm from happening to her. And I know sometimes as women, we don't want to receive that because we feel like men are trying to tell us what to do and control us. Sometimes it's okay to listen to men. Sometimes not all men are trying to control you or hurt you. Sometimes because they know men and know how men think and what they're going to do. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to listen to them. And if we have enough wisdom and discernment, we know the foolish ones and we know the ones to listen to. We know the ones to straight up just ignore. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I don't care if anybody say anything to me. I mean, he might have some controlling ways, but I think in that aspect and understanding. And again, I grew up around guys, been around guys, and to sit here and act like guys probably ain't never thought about having sex with you or looked at you any kind of way, even if it doesn't happen or go anywhere, it's kind of naive. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm moving on. All right. So we go to Haley and Jacob. Haley and Jacob, they were kind of at each other's place. Haley seemed a little bit annoyed with Jacob's place. Oh yeah, I did skip Claire and Ryan talking about their place, but that's okay. So Haley and Jacob, they go to their own place, each other's place. Haley's place is nice and neat. So is Jacob's. Jacob's place is nice and neat. And he has like his man cave or like his '80s room that kind of has like the flash of neon lights, but everything else in his apartment, I mean, it's not like very '80s. I mean, he has like the whole thing with the tapes, but the rest of the apartment looks pretty normal. So even though he has his fascination with '80s, I think it comes out maybe more in the things he watches. Some of his clothes, but not everything. Because even when he doesn't dress very '80s. He's just like jeans and a t-shirt. Jeans and t-shirt is very 2021. I see so many people wearing it. I mean, or he has on a polo. So I don't see him walking around looking like Philip Michael Thomas or Don Johnson from Miami Vice. Neither do I see him looking like Ferris Bueller or Tom Cruise from Risky Business. So he does have a member only jacket, but I'm not trying to be funny. How many of us have vintage gear? I mean, I got something vintage, from a certain period. I mean, I got some long gloves from like the 1940s because I very much like 40s glamour. I know how to, modernize it, but there is a part of me that loves it. So I think to try and make it seem like outside of him saying he loves the 80s, his pattern looked very 80s to me. Maybe some key elements I missed, but I don't remember seeing that. So they go to, like I said, Haley's house, and she has like this cardigan or like this like kimono type thing. He tells her it looks very Karen, and she's like, "That's my mom." He's like, "Yeah, it looks a little Karen." I thought that was kind of funny because it was true. They get together and finally move in. Their dogs have issues. His dog's not liking her dog, and they're like, yeah. And I think that's probably because his dog senses, it might senses that the dog might be like its owner, like his mama. But the funny thing is, when Pastor Kyle comes to visit, Haley's dog is like right by Jacob like this. So she like, you want one of them? I'll take him. I'm gonna be because they mentioned like the dog like him. She's like, yeah, she likes him. So Jacob talks about a past of being used when they talk to Pastor Cal as a side dude. And they talk about, a little bit about the intimacy. And that's part of the reason. And I knew there was an issue for Jacob to just kind of go to the left like that. Not that he was right, and I'm glad he did apologize to Haley, but, it has to be devastating that, I'm not just the one that somebody, is talking to, but I'm being used while she's, supposed to be dating her boyfriend, and me with her boyfriend, and I'm on the side. So no, I don't want to be the dude on the side. And so that's how he was feeling. Haley says she's not affectionate. She tries. She lied. She had a chance to be honest to say, you know what, I'm not attracted to him. And as much as I, kind of going back and looking at past episodes of people who were like, we kind of thought, Zach was a bit of a schmuck and how he was treating Mindy this way. And at least, and I hate to say it, even though he still was kind of schmuck in some of the things he did, at least he was honest. Haley is lying. Now, unless she just doesn't know what to do. Just tell him you're not attracted to him, or tell him the sex wasn't that good, and you don't know where to go from there. You don't know. She doesn't know how to communicate. She just doesn't. And no matter how much she thinks she's this person and this, she, she has this attitude that she's all that. And again, I'm not trying to judge her or come down on her. But if you're going to have this attitude, this highfalutin, this bougie, I'm all this confidence, then you got to walk in it. And it comes off more like arrogance and, this comes off kind of arrogant and self-inflating, and not nice. I mean, just I don't know, Haley. I don't know. Girl, get your life. Just tell him you don't like him. And say, you know what, the sex wasn't that good. Maybe he can work on it. Then again, somebody said, or maybe it's the reverse. Maybe he put it on her, and she don't know what to do. Maybe he put it on her. Maybe she ain't want to like him, and he put it on her. Now she don't know what to do. She probably is scared that she go back under. She ain't gonna be able to. I don't know. Could be. Somebody mentioned that. I want to say, was it who was I watching? Was I watching it might have been, was I watching Janice Hilton? I'm trying to think if she the one who said it. It might have been her. And I was like, oh, that's something to think about. Trying to think if it was her who mentioned it, because I watch so many reviews. I hate that I do my reviews later, because then I'm trying to make sure that I don't take and pick up, even though they get some things that I may have missed. That's the cool thing about watching other reviews. Like I watch was it Jasmine W? I watch Darling TV. I watch Little Black Book. I watch Body Blues reviews. And somebody else that I watch too. I feel like, oh, and Stephanie Lee, because the therapist, and everybody has like good views, and I like it, and they pull out different things. So, but I believe, and I watch some of Janice's. She cracks me up though. Yeah, so I watched a little bit of hers, and I think she was the one saying, and I said that's an interesting theory, but you know, you never know. You know, somebody put it on you. She might not be like, I don't want to be with him. I don't want to fall in love, and then he done put it on her. Now she's like, I don't know what to do. Probably mess her up. I mean, it would confuse me too if I didn't really want to be with you, but sex was good. Then I mean, if I keep giving it to you, then I mean, am I playing with you? I don't know. So, I mean, am I playing with you? Am I committed to this? She might not want to be committed like that. But, anyways, that's funny. So, it kind of ends with Pastor Cal trying to help them out. Lord have mercy. Whew. And then Brinson's. That's what we're just gonna go with, because I can't ever just say Brianna and Vincent. I just always put their name together. So, you know, they get to their homes, move in. Vincent's home is, you know, nice and clean. She said she didn't expect it to be that clean. I don't know why. He looks pretty neat. He looks like he smells good. He doesn't look sloppy. Brianna, girl. Brianna. I mean, I guess if you think about some men, but yeah, Brianna, girl. And maybe because she had to pick up after him too, she didn't expect maybe it to look like that because of how everything was thrown on. But maybe he just did that because it was vacation, and maybe he, you know. And I'm not trying to be funny, but Brianna, if you picked up every time after him, maybe he didn't have to think about clean up after himself, which he might have normally did. But if every time he threw something down, you were behind picking him up, it doesn't give him a chance. And so, no, you wouldn't think he was clean, because you up here picking up his drawers and his socks and then putting them and fold his shorts back in the thing. As opposed to just leaving him there and letting him pick up his own stuff because you don't like the mess. So that's more of an issue with him, maybe not with you. So maybe that's why you couldn't see that maybe he has some cleanliness to him. And so, you know, she looks at everything, you know, his apartment nice. She kind of, you know, knows how everything, they get it and they go to her apartment. He makes a joke about, or is it the reverse? Well, he makes a joke about her TV house leaning. Oh yeah, because they go to her apartment first, because he made a joke about her leaning tower TV. And, you know, then he tells her this is how, you know, TV's actually supposed to be fixed or whatever. She's like, it's a little crooked, being petty, but so, you know, they get her stuff and he's like just waiting. She's taking like 50 pairs of shoes, which I ain't mad at Brianna, because I got a lot of shoes too, a lot of clothes. So I can't talk about her in the aspect of a closet. So he looked like he was ready to pass out. But hey, welcome to marriage and welcome to the closet of some of us women. You know, some of us, you know, like to be cute and got our shoes. And like I said, I got my, you know, my earrings. Oh Lord, I got like box with hair in it. So, you know, I'm moving with somebody. I feel sorry for, you know, my future husband, because, you know, it ain't just gonna be the clothes coming in the closet. It's gonna be the hair. It's gonna be the jewelry. I mean, I'm condensing some stuff down, of course, and even not working on that, but still, you're gonna get the ponytail and a box or some braiding hair, some box with some wigs, okay? Because that's how it's gonna go down. Anyway, so getting back to Brent's. Let me just say Brent's. Okay. And so, you know, you get to the house, you know. Did Pastor Kyle come before then? I think Pastor Kyle did come before then, because when Pastor Kyle came, you know, they talked about how in love they were and how much they enjoyed each other. And, you know, Pastor Kyle kind of helped him to know, you know, you know, I know you want to love your wife correctly, and I know you guys are so in the lovey-dovey stage, but you're going to, even though your intent is not to hurt your mate, you're going to hurt them, because that's just part of relationships, and relationships are not perfect. So I'm glad he said that, because I think a lot of times too, and, you know, like I said, being someone who is young, not young, but being someone who has a certain level of expectation in relationships and in reality, it's my heart not to hurt people, but I find in relationships, even when I intentionally and unintentionally, somehow people hurt. What boggles me sometimes is when people get hurt and I didn't mean to hurt them, or I got stuff going on too. And, I mean, I think relationships are two ways. So, but anyways, they're two-way streets. It's not a one way. But somewhere along the line, somebody forgets that it's not, and they keep thinking the one way is supposed to be the tour of the whole city. But that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not going to bring that into my video. But anyways, he just told him the reality, and it's true. Your relationships can be painful. There's no such thing as not hurting you and you not hurting me. Whether it's in your family, whether it's in your friendships, whether it's in romantic relationships, or even when you're dealing with your children, which is still family. Somebody's gonna hurt somebody, and it's just reality. Um, I mean, again, she loves his kindness. He loves that she supports him. Likes his ambitions and wants to take care of her. Brianna was like, I can still pay for my own stuff. Girl, let me find somebody who says, oh, I want to take care of girl. See, but she young. You independent. You think girl, get my age. You like, here. You want it? Especially being a single, a single parent. And I'm not saying I don't, but I've worked. I was, I'm a single, well, she's out the house now, but a single parent, of a daughter. And shoot, being a single parent was tiring. So if someone would have came along, when she was younger, and I'm not just saying anybody, but somebody who I could marry and love and respect and would, properly take care of things, and he wanted to uphold, I'm sorry, I would have relinquished. Not because I don't have independence, not because I can't take care of myself. It's not because none of those things, because I've always been a very independent person. But sometimes you come to a point as a woman, you recognize that there's some loads that you can unload and that you don't have to carry, especially as a single parent, and especially as a woman. So yeah, some things I would have relinquished. Heck yeah. And I'm not gonna apologize. I'm probably like one of the women that kind of has a little bit of a hypergamy, or some a traditional mindset. Yes, I do, and I'm okay with it. Like my last boyfriend, he wanted to take care of everything. I could take care of stuff, and I didn't mind because of my heart. But when he took care of her and stepped back, oh, okay, you want to do it, handle it. I'm not going to get in the way. If that's what that's how you want to do it. Oh, I can pay. No, why pay for? Okay, go ahead. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to fight you to take care of me. I'm not going to fight you to do what you feel is right. And it wasn't anything trying to be controlling. It wasn't because I ain't have my own cash. Just that's something that he wanted to do to express his care and concern and protection for me. So guess what? Tiffany is going to do. Tiffany's going to be like, okay, you can go ahead and handle that. I'm not going to fight you. Thank you very much. Okay. So Brianna, if he want to handle some things, let him. If he want to pay that bill, take that money and put it somewhere else. Stack it up, or buy you another pair of shoes, sister. Okay. He wants respect, and there's a book that talks about women need love and men need respect. And so one thing we don't understand is Vincent does want respect, and he feels like Brianna's belittling him. And she does kind of, because we get to, after Pastor Kyle visits with him, where they pop the champagne bottle, and he spills it on the floor, because sometimes stuff just explodes. And she said a couple times, that's very Vinny of you, and she probably was making a joke. But Brianna, if that man feels like some of your snide comments, and if you've kind of been in this place before this conversation, it's gonna take her a minute to learn. But you know that's what it was. And when they had the argument, he should have just been honest instead of getting up like a little boy and running away. And people don't understand, if you don't communicate, you don't say that, I don't know, I don't. So if you don't tell me, you just say, because I'm belittling you. How did I belittle you? Even if she might have been thinking she was making a joke, it was very, wasn't nice. He spilled it, messy or whatever. And I don't know if that's because she get to know the guy first to know whether or not he's super messy, or it's just Like I said, he might have put something down and you might not have gave him a chance to pick it up because you so busy wanting to control your environment. Brianna, do you spill stuff? Have you ever did anything wrong? And that's where we got to get to the attitude to recognize sometimes we're not perfect. And I love them though, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm hard, but I'm just yeah, he just wants respect and fears that he may say the wrong thing because she's his wife. And I think that was the case when he stepped out. He still should have said something though. And what he's going to have to learn how to do is figure out, how do I say to her, not in a passive aggressive way, not in a way that stilts my voice, but how do I find my voice in a respectful way to my wife to tell her, that bothered me, and being okay and being vulnerable. Like I said, they're still both young, they're still in a relationship. They're gonna have to learn each other, but they both gonna have to learn how to communicate. She's gonna have to learn how to be not so aggressive passive. You're gonna have to learn how not to be so passive aggressive. All right. Woo, child. Moving on to Love and Hip Hop edition. Love and Hip Hop segment. I wasn't loving hip hop this week, but moving on to the mumble rapper CW Deuce, who ain't the truth, who more like the fool. But anyway, and First Lady of Confusion page, po baby, po baby. I'm sorry, just every time I say it, it just breaks my heart. I know people, say she's stupid. It just breaks my heart because I think as women, especially if we kind of think back and go over, some of us, not all of us, but some of us could probably think of being her age in our 20s and being just not being the wisest in relationships. I know as some women, even myself, some things that we went through, we put ourselves through. And anyway, so they said Chris is already in Chicago. Um, hmm, wow. So he's in Chicago. Paige moves in alone. She's waking up alone. We get to a certain point where at one point she calls the producer. And I'm like everybody else. When I first seen that clip, I was like, oh, is that the baby's mom cousin talking about Paige like that? Because like everybody else, that did not sound like her. Okay. Paige, says like, yeah, and I prayed for him and I just can't believe he told me that. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Girl went full, I don't even know who she went. But Paige's twin. Paige's twin, what could we name her twin? Her twin, Patrice. Okay, not Paige. Patrice came out and was like, this bleep 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 and F this bleep. Oh, Patrice came out. Forget about First Lady of forget about First Lady Paige, okay? Patrice came out. Patrice was like, "You gonna get you need to get this smoke." I just wish Patrice would have came out when he came in with Pastor Cal. I would have loved to see Patrice come out, but Patrice came out on that phone and talked about how he talked about he's going back to his baby's mama, how he wanted a divorce, how he wasn't gonna stay with her, how she was done. I wish Patrice would have came out when Paige met with Pastor Cal. Well, no, Paige was fine meeting with Pastor Cal, but when Chris came in, I needed Patrice. I needed Patrice to be like, look, because that dude, he was trying to gaslight and lie and trying to make it seem like he ain't doing nothing wrong. Dude, you are such a culprit in this game of manipulation and elementary mastermindery. It's made up of mindery. It's probably not even the word mastermindery. You got masterminds where you're very elementary. I mean, even Watson would have figured it out before you understood. I mean, even Watson was like, this man, forget. No, you're not even elementary. You're more like preschool, dude. Preschool and daycare. ages 0 to 2. Okay, 0 to 2. Anyway, so Paige meets with Pastor Cal. She explains that Chris wants to get back with his ex and raise his child. Um, Pastor Cal, pray, bless his heart. Pastor Cal, you can tell when Pastor Cal's frustrated. Because, he asked questions about them having sex and did they use protection? Paige is like, no. I'm like, girl, Paige, is it really that good? Because I shouldn't be asking questions. But I mean, anyways, he looks like he'd be very selfish as a lover. I don't know. He might be one of them F boys, a narcissist to try and put it on you to kind of keep you mesmerized by the D. You do have some of those out there because it is something that's, I believe, tied to narcissism. I remember reading an article talking about narcissism and sex and how, I don't know, if sometimes they use sex or they try and make sure they have the best sex or something to kind of keep you, constantly, so they can constantly hover over you and keep that line of communication open so that when they come back and try and hover, and I can't remember the word. I wish I can think of the terminology. But girl, so they weren't using protection. She talked about, she told Pastor Cal how he didn't find me attractive, how he wants to go back to sex. And, Pastor Cal is, and then glasses get like this. And at one point, Pastor Cal was like, that's that's BS. I know Pastor Cal wanted to cuss because, ooh, Jesus. Some days I want to say some words about the situation, but I ain't going to say the words because it's enough in life to just repent. I like to keep my account short. So even when I do stuff that I don't realize, I just want to keep it short. That's enough repentance right there. Okay, that's enough. So let alone cussing at the TV and cussing at somebody who can't hear you. Especially that that dude. Anyway, so she explains all that, and Chris finally comes to the meeting, and he comes in as if nothing's happened. That's the part I'm flabbergasted. Dude walks in as if nothing ever happened. He walks in as if he's just late for the meeting. Oh, did my wife tell you? I was like, yes, yes. I had to finish up at work. I had a couple contracts I need to sign and get taken. No, you can't walk in as if you didn't. I was surprised to see him. So aren't you supposed to be in Chicago? Aren't you supposed to be getting back with your baby's mom? Didn't you tell me you want a divorce? Did you? Or why are you here? Them should have been the question. That's why I said Patrice should have came out on him. And Patrice ain't got to cuss you out, but Patrice need to get you told. Need to help you get your head back on right. Need to apply the rod of correction to the seat of understanding. Need to help you learn how to be slow to speak, slow to get angry, and quick to listen so that you can bounce out that door. That's what Patrice, I need a Patrice to come in that moment. But instead, Paige sat there. She was quiet. She was probably listening, and Pastor Cal tried to say something, and Chris tries to justify his behavior because again, he's hiding behind the cross. Yes, I did that on purpose. He's trying to hide behind the cross and like he's a godly man and like I'm being honest, boy, F boy. C double deuce, mumble rapper. Just ooh. So that's pretty much how we kind of end things with Chris coming in line, and then he whispers in Paige's ears, I'm scared to fall in love with you after Pastor Cal. Doesn't do it when Pastor Cal is here. Doesn't say it. Doesn't say any of that when Pastor Cal is here. Because Pastor Cal can see right through your BS. Pastor Cal can see the manipulation in the games that you're playing. And Pastor Cal already called you out. You didn't want to be called out. That's why, that's why he's like a snake in the garden. He does stuff in private. So you have to be careful, when people like that do certain things in private. I'm not saying there are certain things you can't do in private. Because sometimes some of us don't do stuff in private because we don't have to prove stuff to people. But then you had the other half like him who's manipulative, trying to do stuff on the sneak. And I don't understand why he thinks that he's doing it in private when people are going to one day watch you on TV. And now that he's catching all this smoke, he can't understand because he's thinking in his mind, he had it all figured out. He was cool and calculated and knew, the right techniques, the right way to do it so people won't be able to. But what you fail to realize, what you thought you were doing in the dark, or what you convinced yourself that you was doing in the dark, has come to light, dude. So you didn't think people was going to watch after you done whispered down his ear and she was going to say it, that she was going to catch smoke? Because you've gone on and went to Mexico and out there, Man, listen. I'm going to say it again. That nigga ain't nothing. And I hate to say that because it sounds like I'm speaking negative over life, but let me put it like this. There's a principle that we all know. It's called reaping and sowing. It's not anybody wishing bad on you, but when you have behavior like that and you're trying to manipulate and run game and think you being slick and think you smart and think you getting over on somebody, one day certain things catch up to you. And what you sow, you're going to reap. So if you sow seeds of manipulation, if you sow seeds of pain, seeds of destruction, seeds of hurt, you don't think you ever going to get that back? You don't think it's never going to come back? And so again, not that I'm wishing any bad thing on him, but he has to realize your behavior is just it's not appropriate. And I'm Paige, I need you to go ahead and leave. I need you. After that, they walk down, he grabs his luggage. I would have let him, you know what? Click, and went right back up. And I understand when you care about somebody. I mean, girl, you 5 days in, so I don't know. Like I said, sex, once you have sex with somebody, you build a tie. So right there's already not just, she developed a semi-emotional connection. Like I said, there's some things they probably talked about that night. They probably sealed some things, but when they had sex, that sealed the deal. That's why so many, people talk about women who are abused in certain relationships. It's because she done had sex. And I know we say the sex can't be that good, and sometimes it ain't, but it's that sexual, emotional connection. And if he got in her ear good, oh, no wonder. If he's a manipulator, even if he ain't the best manipulator, but if he knows what things to try and say, like we say, I'm attracted to you spiritually, and know how to say those things. Oh, she's like putty. She's like putty. Poor baby. Anyways, but like I was saying, that's pretty much the end of the episode. Next week, I don't know why. Paige is meeting with his ex-fiance, or quote unquote the baby's mama or whatever. Like I said, Pastor Cal met with him. He asked Chris all the questions. How do you know she's pregnant? He's saying, I saw the picture, which he meant the ultrasound. He doesn't want anybody raising his kid as if he can't just be in the kid's life. He's showing very arrogant ways. And Paige, I know this again, the season's over and you probably living life now. I'm sorry that you had to go through it, and I'm sorry that you thought if you kept trying to persevere and be ride or die, that she's gonna be able to change things. And them type of people, especially he has very high narcissistic tendencies or just manipulative, abusive. And those are the things that sometimes make me be scared to even want to get in a relationship. Because even if you see 1 ounce of something that looks like something, it could just be bad communication. I'm like, I don't know, is this because of stuff like that? Because he tries to come off as such a nice guy, but he's such an F-boy. I like that line from Insecure that Tasha gave to Lawrence. You are a nice guy that is basically an F-boy. That's not verbatim, but that's basically what she told him. You are a nice guy. You are a guy. Did she say you are an F-boy who thinks he's a nice guy? Or you think you're a nice guy, but you're an F-boy? That's basically what Chris is. But the sad thing is he's not, I can't even say he's a nice guy. He needs help. Yeah. All right, so that's I did what 2 episodes, so I went kind of long and talked about stuff that probably didn't need to be talked about in there, and threw in some other stuff. So I'm done with the love and hip hop segment of Married at First Sight. Yeah, I'm done with the overall Married at First Sight. I just my hope and prayers next season they do better. I thought Michael, the season with Brandon and Michael was horrible. And like I said, you had, maybe like a Matt or a Zach kind of spread out, a Luke, maybe those one case scenario. But this season has taken the cake, and I'm not very happy with the season. Not at all. I think everything they did was pretty much trash. I mean, it's pretty trash. Um, so, all right, well, you guys, I see you later, and you have a good evening.